everyone. Welcome to Cocktail History with the Freeborn County Historical Museum, Library, and Village. I'm Stephanie Kibler, the Executive Director here at the museum, with Risha Lilienthal, Coordinator for our exhibits and collections. And today we're featuring the Daisy, which I had never heard of.
Me neither.
And as I dug into this, it's actually kind of a fun little cocktail.
Okay.
We picked the Daisy because it is National Agriculture Month, and we thought it would tie in nicely to farming and meadowland and all of that good stuff. Growth, spring, plants, sunshine. We could go on and on. When I was doing the research, I found a couple different articles that called this a humble cocktail.
Aww.
Which I thought was really very sweet. A daisy's kind of a humble flower.
Right.
I don't know if they were
innocence, chastity,
I
kind
guess,
of symbols of
yeah.
daisies, purity.
It dates back to 1866. And was often the liquor in a daisy was often switched around. It kind of depended on what you had on hand. Typically, back then it was gin or cognac was one that popped up. Brandy was another one.
Well, it's kind of like the old fashioned where you kind of pull what you had.
Right.
Yeah.
More modern versions tend to go with tequila or vodka.
Okay.
And it consists of two spirits, which I like that. The Daisy consists of 2 spirits. Kind of makes me think of that show, Pushing Up Daisies.
Oh, I love that show.
I love that show too. The only, that was still on. So today we're using Bombay Sapphire Gin, and it usually has an orange liqueur.
It's kind of citrusy.
Cointreau or Grand Marnier. It was interesting because in reading about this, they also sometimes just used a sweetener with like an orange juice or a citrus juice, and then it tops off with a little soda water and a little lemon. And I didn't have just plain soda water, but I did have a lemon zest San Pellegrino.
Oh, very nice.
I thought that would be nice because we are going to cut our lemon
down a little.
We have found that back when they were drinking bathtub gin, they were using a lot of lemon
to cover that.
Yeah, so we aren't going to really try to cover that taste so much.
Yeah.
So I guess let's get mixing.
Yeah. Gin first?
Ice first.
Ice first
in our shaker. And then we're going to do 2.5 ounces of gin.
That good?
So 5 ounces of gin.
Yeah. And I was reading that this is a sour.
Yes.
But a sour drink itself includes, spirit, citrus, and sweetener.
Yep.
But to make it a daisy, that's you adding the club soda or seltzer is what makes it a daisy.
And the orange.
Oh, yeah.
And the orange. Yep. That was part of it. During Prohibition, the type of gin used was more like a Genever, which I had never heard of. It's a Dutch-styled gin made from distilled malt wine, which, I don't know, I kind of went, ugh. Okay, you counting there? Because I feel like...
the last one.
Well, yeah, that's half of it there's gone. That's good. And then we're going to do 3 ounces of Cointreau. We're going to have a hard time shaking that up.
Goodness. Full 2 drinks there.
Yeah. I love daisies. It's one of my favorite flowers. It's actually was the flower that I had in my wedding way back when I got married.
This is 3?
3, yes. Okay. And then 1.5 of lemon juice, which is exactly 1.5 lemon juice in this little glass.
Oh, perfect.
So you don't have to measure
it and spill on
So, do you know what the predecessors to the daisy are?
No.
The margarita.
The predecessors or the future?
Oh, I said predecessor.
The descendants?
The descendants. Sorry. The History 101. Genealogy 101. So the margarita, because margarita is Spanish for daisy.
I didn't know
I didn't know that either.
Cool. Oh, do we?
Then we're gonna shake. We can shake that. That's good. We might want to shake that over the sink. That could be a little tricky. We should have done that in two.
Oh no, it's okay.
It is also considered an early incarnation of the cosmopolitan.
Okay.
So they say the Cosmos Basin, which I find interesting because I don't see a lot of
Things connected
to that. Yeah. And then the Daisy was also a forerunner for the sidecar,
Oh,
which we
just did
featured.
the
Yeah,
sidecar.
yeah. So as the margarita became popular, that's kind of when the Daisy recirculated and the tequila
Oh.
became part of the Daisy.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
They put that in there.
So then we pour those into there. And we top then with the soda water. Oh, it doesn't look like there's a lot of space to top. I guess there's quite a bit of space to top, maybe. I don't know.
Funnels.
So yeah, this one I think is tied more to some new modern cocktails more than any of the other cocktails that we've talked about.
I don't know.
I was wondering though, you know, because we just did our popcorn history podcast.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit on like the Pierce sisters, and I wondered if you could, if at any time the Pierce sisters ever sat on their porch, looking out at their corn crops, sipping a daisy,
Aw.
or their alfalfa fields,
With a little daisy in hand.
and the little lambs that they raised jumping, and the little pigs that they raised out in the yard, and
It's a nice
the
pasture
3,000
feed.
chicks.
Yeah, 3,000.
So then we do this.
Oh.
Ooh. All right, we might, we're gonna be working till 7 o'clock tonight, folks.
All right.
Whew. That would be a full, oh God.
It's yellow.
It is kind of a pretty gold. Okay, I'm gonna be really rude here. We're gonna cheers. And I'm gonna slurp so I don't spill. Sorry.
Couldn't even hear it.
And that is very
Very
margarita-y.
I can taste the lemon a lot in it.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see where a margarita came off of that.
It also feels very summery.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can go sit up on the rooftop with a lawn chair.
Put our feet up.
Put our feet up.
Oh my goodness.
Watch for crop dusters.
Sure. Well, the daisy, the name daisy, I kind of went into the history of the flower, I guess. It comes from an old English word called, it's like days ega, which was day's eye, because of the way the flower blossomed at the first sight of dawn.
Oh, that's
Which,
neat.
I don't know, like agriculture farmers got up with the dawn, you know, or before most of the time.
Right, Day's eye. I like
yeah,
that. I
that's
like
pretty.
that a lot.
It's been around since 2200 BC, when the Egyptians would grow it. And they would grow it for a lot of medicinal reasons, because you can use the daisy as herbal medicine.
I want Daisy
Blue.
Blue. Oh, we'll have to touch base with our chemist, Jenna. Yeah.
Because you could use the medicine to relieve indigestion, it would soothe coughs, slow down bleeding, and also ease back pain.
Ooh.
Right? Yeah. And that's, I thought immediately, like you, Daisy Blue. Maybe her name fits so well with that, because, you know, she's got a lot of herbal essential oils.
Yes.
A lot of
she does a lot of uses a lot of plants in her product.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And there's more than 20,000 different kinds of daisies. It's just a vast family of flower.
I guess that doesn't surprise me, having been somewhat of a gardener.
Oh yeah.
It's the Gerber daisy is one of my favorites, because that's usually really bright colored, and I think that's how you say it.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to figure it out. You got it.
Super bright colored, like reds and pinks, and so that's one of my faves. I think I wonder if an aster, which is a fall bloom, isn't kind of part of the daisy family.
Oh,
I don't know either. I threw that out there.
I know. I know that our floral shop here in Albert Lea, Addie's Floral, has been here. They've called themselves Albert Lea's Florist since 1985. So they've been around, and they do sell a rainbow daisy bouquet.
Ah.
Yeah.
I'll have to go take a peek at that. I didn't know she had that.
Uh-huh.
It's a really lovely little shop if you haven't been in there. Lots of little gifts and beautiful arrangements.
But daisy itself, too, is apparently high in vitamin C.
Well, why are we not putting them in our salads?
Actually, you can.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If they're edible and full of vitamin C.
And the leaf is actually really closely related to an artichoke.
Huh. Well, I'm going to be experimenting. I love artichoke.
Have fun with that.
Love artichoke.
They also have 2 flowers in one, is what they're called, because they have the large flowers on the outside, and then the center is tiny little petals that are 2 flowers, and that has made them symbolize true love.
Oh, hence why I had them in my wedding.
Yeah, see?
Now divorced.
Kind of. But I thought immediately of Catherine Meehan and Mr. Meehan.
Mr. Meehan?
That lovely little diary that we have of his that talks about her once in a while that just floored me.
He does when he writes of her, he writes very affectionately. You can't help but smile when you're reading it. Now I feel like there should be I'm sure there's something in there where he gave her flowers. I wonder if they were daisies.
Yeah. That'd be cute. It's also in Norse mythology as Freya's sacred flower.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She was the goddess of love, beauty, and fertility. So
and the daisies are sacred flower.
Oh. And they came to symbolize childbirth and motherhood and new beginnings. Sometimes it was given to congratulate new mothers.
That makes sense because of that, yeah.
It's also chastity and transformation, which is the Roman myth of Vertumnus and Belides.
Okay.
Vertumnus was a god, and Belides was a nymph. Vertumnus fell in love with her and started pursuing her. She tried to get away, and to finally get away from him, she turned herself into a daisy.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing that happened with Apollo, and I'm forgetting her name.
Don't look to me.
Daphne. That's the nymph.
Daphne and Daisy.
Yeah, she turned herself into a tree to get away from
That's
Apollo.
Right. I do remember that.
That's a similar myth there.
Is a god supposed to fall in love with a nymph?
They have.
I thought there were rules.
It depends, I think, on the kind of nymph, and if they're like within a sacred order of a virgin goddess.
Okay.
You know,
I thought there were rules on that.
But in order, like, because of this, the scientific name of Daisy is Bellis, and Belides was that's where the name came from.
Sure.
She was
interesting.
Yeah, and it also represents purity and innocence. White is usually connected with that. It was used in Hamlet to represent Ophelia's innocence.
Which is interesting, because when you talk about white and innocence, nowadays people get married in white, white wedding dresses.
That's because of Queen Victoria, but yes.
Well, right, I was going to say, back not all that long ago, wedding dresses were
just your
blue or brown or whatever.
Before Queen Victoria, they actually had different they were symbols dependent on the color that you wore, and it wasn't always white,
Right. So I think it's really interesting that's
still that way, or
was
that way.
Yeah.
It also that comes from an old Celtic legend, too, the purity and innocence part, which this legend is that whenever an infant died, God would sprinkle daisies over the earth to cheer the parents up.
Oh, that's very sweet, isn't it?
And then that kind of connected in my mind to the sunflower.
I was going to say, you mentioned the sunflowers earlier, and so
because it's not a daisy, but it's a field that is here in Albert Lea. That Johnny Olson was the one he's from Monticello or Monticello? Monticello. Okay, he is in that area, and he started making these sunflower fields to honor kind of people that we think about and care about and usually have lost. And the one in Albert Lea was specifically to honor the children and families of those children who have passed. And so each child's name is written on a white sign going up to the field to remember somebody who was lost. And the field was open on Tuesdays for people who had lost children, and then on Wednesdays for anybody. So it was just to kind of, he said, what did he say? Did I write it down? I didn't, but it was something like how he wanted to give them a smile to kind of ease that pain too, and to, give them something to remember but not be in despair.
Sure.
Yeah, and I thought that was quite lovely to have that field here, close to Manchester, but in Albert Lea.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that you can have one little flower that can connect to so many different things, so many different ethnicities,
Sure.
lore, folktale, modern history. I mean, it's just, who would have thought that little simple daisy bobbing in the wind?
Right. Well, and we have that phrase, whoops-a-daisy.
Whoops-a-daisy.
That used to be ups-a-daisy.
Why was it ups-a-daisy?
Because it was to encourage children who fell to get back up, because they called them little daisies because they were cute.
So when did people change it to whoops-a-daisy, I wonder?
Just in the vernacular and people saying it kind of slurred together to...
Ups-a-daisy is better.
Yeah. Well, because it turned into, oops, you fell, instead of being, come on, get up,
Yeah. I never did an oops when my kids fell. Brush it off.
Oh.
Brush it off.
Sure.
It made me think of, talking about ups-a-daisy made me think of a Pocket Full of Posies.
That's because of the plague.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Took that dark fast, didn't I?
Whoa. Ring Around the Rosie.
Right. So Ring Around the Rosie was a song that was sung, give me a time frame here. I can't even think
Black Plague during medieval, like 1400s, I would say.
Which is,
1300s.
isn't that funny that song is carried and carried and carried,
yeah.
but and nowadays we talk about it as a children's song. But yeah, it was not initially the fun song that we sing today in pre-K.
I mean, you just think about it, the words going with the fun music, and it's like, oh, that's actually dark.
Yeah, it's a dark little song that we teach our children.
Which I feel like flowers kind of have that connotation, though. Flowers are lovely and beautiful, but sometimes they have like dark underlines, like meanings with them.
I suppose, they wither. Their lifespan is quite short, whether you pick them or not. Their lifespan is fairly short, so.
They're a joy for a short time.
Way to bring you guys down. Sorry. I guess on that note, maybe go sit on the porch. I don't know what the temperature is today.
Yeah, if you can.
Imagine instead of the snow in your front yard that it's a field of daisies.
Field of daisies. What's your favorite flower?
My favorite flower, that's so hard for me because I have, if you're talking tropical, the passion flower, which is where you get passion fruit from, it's just it's a frilly, funky, fun, silly flower that just kind of goes all over the place. Lavender, although I don't know if it flowers, I guess that's more of an herb, but I do love lavender. I have, probably, if you're just talking your regular garden flower, a delphinium.
Oh, those are pretty.
Those, they get to be about this high, and there's flower stalks, and there's a particular one that's kind of almost gets this color blue. That when it's out in the garden and the sun catches it is so pretty. I absolutely love that. I don't know. I could go on and on. I love gardening, and I love flowers. And when I first moved back down here and I started bringing plants in, the agreement with Pete was he didn't have to do anything with them. So as long as I could manage them. And as luck would have it, we live in his parents' home now that they've passed away, and they were gardeners. So we have quite a few of his mom's of his mom's flowering plants too. But I like flowers, and I love shade plants, which I guess they do flower too. But anyway, I could talk about that all day.
Sure.
Maybe we'll have to have a rose petal drink or something along that line. Anyway, I guess I would say try a daisy.
I like it.
If you like margaritas, you would like this, and it's not what do I want to say? It's not
Overpowering?
overpowering.
Yeah.
And I think when we post it, we should post with half the
Half of
lemon
the lemon.
because
Yeah, 'cause
if
that-
it had any
it's
more
too
lemon, it'd be
much
too
lemon.
much.
Mhm.
And I think you could put this on ice.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I mean, what we
it
made
could be
here,
a good slushy.
you could do a really nice
Ooh,
slushy
this would
with
be
it
a very
too.
good
Yeah,
slushy.
frozen drink. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, anyway, I would try, I'll have this again at home
This is good.
on the patio,
Mhm.
looking at my daisies. Might have to plant daisies.
There you go.
All right, cheers. Cheers, everybody.